Here we are at the Water for Life USA headquarters, and the purpose of this video is to show what's in the box when you get a KYK Genesis water ionizer, and also how to install it to your faucet head. So we're just going to zoom in here and I'll show you what's in the box. You get, of course, your power cord, you get your user manual, you get pH reagent drops and a pH chart so that you can test your water after you get your machine hooked up. You also get screws and C-blocks so that you can actually mount the KYK Genesis to the wall if you want to. You get a faucet diverter valve and an adapter, so you can either attach to a male faucet or a female faucet. You get an under sink water diverter valve in case you choose to install your Genesis to your cold water line. You would use this valve. You also get a water pressure reducer. These are for those of you that have very high water pressure, usually in inner cities. As you can see, you just install it to the 1/4 inch line, put one end of the line into one side of the reducer, and then the other one into the other end of the reducer. And then this is simply a dust filter, and we recommend that everybody install the dust filter with their Genesis, because sometimes big particles of sand will get into your water and that can clog up your filters too quick. So a typical use of both of these, I'll put it back down here. As you can see, imagine this is hooking up to your faucet or to your cold water line. It's running into the dust filter, and then it's running into the water pressure reducer, and then this line would continue on to the Genesis. So that is what's in the box. Now the first step in installing your Genesis is to, of course, choose a position next to your sink. I'll step out here so that you can see. There's your typical kitchen sink. I've got the Genesis sitting next to the sink. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the stainless steel hose into the connector here, and it just screws in very easily. And this stainless steel hose is able to position in any way, which is very nifty. It flexes, you can flex it up, you can flex it down, so any position that you want it in. That's very nifty. The second step is to take a look at your faucet. You need to determine if the threads of the faucet are male or female. If they're male, they will be sticking out, and in that case, then all you would do is screw in the faucet adapter to the male threads. But as you can see in the case of this faucet, the threads are female. So what we need to do is we need to screw into the faucet diverter valve the male adapter, which looks like this. That would screw right into the faucet diverter valve, so it's going to screw right like that, so that you got some male threads sticking out for the faucet diverter valve to grab a hold of. Okay, so the next step in installing your KYK Genesis to your faucet is to remove the existing aerator. It wasn't in the previous shot because I wanted to show you the differences in threads, but I put it back in just so you can see. This is your aerator. Sometimes it is tight, so sometimes you have to use some pliers or a wrench to get it out. It unscrews to the left, lefty loosey, righty tighty. You unscrew that and you see there's your aerator, part of it. When I originally took this out, it had a bunch of sand in it, so it kind of proves the point that there is indeed sand and junk in your water. It's not always clean coming out of your tap. So you remove that, and then you've got your 1/4 inch faucet adapter. It goes in its place, and that just screws in. Ta-da! Now you've got your faucet diverter valve attached to your faucet. The next step is to simply take some 1/4 inch line which looks like this. And it fits right over the barbs. It actually takes 2 hands to do this, so I'm going to cut out for right once. Okay, now I've got the 1/4-inch tube plugged right into the faucet adapter. So I'm just going to take this 1/4-inch tube, and then we are looking at the bottom of the Genesis right now. You can see on the left we have the on and off switch, which is in red. We have the plug, and this simply just unplugs, plugs back in, and we have your power cord. And then below that we have the in valve, the end compression valve. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the end of the 1/4-inch tube and I'm going to plug it right in to that 1/4-inch compression valve. So you want to push it until it's all the way in. If it's not all the way in, it will leak. So once that is installed, then we just take another tube that we have cut off of our 1/4-inch tube. That is the selected length to go between the out valve, which is right here. So I'm going to plug that right into the out valve. All the way in. And that out line is simply going to rest right in our sink. Once I have both inline and outline installed into their correct adapters, you can see that we have this nice little guide that KYK has built into the machine. So all you have to do is take your line and just press it right in there, and it snaps right in there, holds it in place. Do the same thing with the other one. Snap it right into place. And there. That's what it should look like. Okay, so now we have the KYK Genesis hooked up to the faucet using the faucet diverter valve. We have a couple small steps left to do. The first step is that we also provide a suction cup with your Genesis. This one you're simply going to turn on the water and take the suction cup and attach it right to the side of your sink, just like that. And then you are going to take the 1/4-inch line and just put it right through the hole. Again, this is a 2-hand. There, now we have the drainage hose put right through the suction cup, so that will drain nicely. Okay, and we just have one last thing to do in setting up our KYK Genesis to the faucet, and that is we're going to install the dust filter. So here is our line coming off of our newly installed diverter valve, and we are going to put this dust filter in this line. As you can see, there's an arrow on the dust filter that shows you what direction it goes. So all you have to do is get a pair of scissors, cut the line, and simply put one end of the line into one side of the dust filter and the other end into the other side of the dust filter, and then that is installed. And now we have our dust filter installed. The last thing to do is to turn it on and drink our water.